Welcome to Frenetta Tate Global, where leadership, operations, workplace experience, and organizational alignment come together to strengthen clarity, communication, and sustainable execution. I'm Frenetta Tate, and on this channel, we explore the operational realities shaping organizations, leadership, employee experience, and long term organizational effectiveness. Because healthy organizations are not built accidentally, they are strengthened intentionally. Let's get into today's conversation. There's something I've come to believe very deeply over the years, both professionally and personally. Alignment changes everything. And yet, most organizations underestimate just how much operational alignment impacts execution, communication, culture, trust, and long term sustainability. We often talk about performance problems, motivation problems, communication problems, and engagement problems. But many times, what organizations are actually experiencing are alignment problems. That realization is what led me to develop what I call the organizational alignment cycle. Because healthy organizations don't happen accidentally, they are strengthened intentionally. And alignment is one of the most important forces shaping whether organizations compensate or function effectively. The cycle begins with leadership clarity. Everything starts there. If leadership lacks clarity around direction, priorities, expectations, values, or purpose, confusion begins spreading through the organization almost immediately. People cannot align around ambiguity. Leadership clarity sets direction with purpose. From there, organizations move into communication coherence. This is where many organizations struggle because communication is not simply about talking more, it's about creating consistency between what leadership says, what teams experience, and what operations actually reinforce. When communication lacks coherence, organizations begin creating mixed signals, and mixed signals create operational instability. The next layer is role and ownership alignment. People need clarity around responsibilities, decision making, ownership, accountability, and operational expectations. Without that clarity, organizations begin over relying on high performers to compensate for those structural gaps. And over time, that creates burnout, frustration, and organizational friction. From there, we move to operational rhythm. This is the heartbeat of execution. Operational rhythm includes meeting structures, communication cadences, workflows, follow up systems, governance practices, and execution consistency. Organizations without an operational rhythm often feel reactive instead of intentional, reactive instead of proactive. People stay busy, but momentum becomes difficult to sustain. Then we move to employee experience. And I think this is one of the most misunderstood areas inside organizations today. Employee experience is not simply perks and engagement activities. It is the operational experience people have while trying to do their work every single day. Do systems support them? Do communication structures help them? Do workflows create clarity or confusion? Do people feel informed? Do they feel connected? Do they feel equipped, respected? Because people experience organizations operationally before they experience them culturally. And when alignment strengthens across these layers, organizations begin creating something extremely powerful: trust and sustainable execution. Not temporary performance, not pressure driven outcome, not exhaustion disguised as productivity. Sustainable execution. The ability to operate clearly, consistently, collaboratively, and effectively over time. And ultimately, this strengthens organizational stability, not perfection, not rigidity, not organizational resilience, the ability to navigate growth, pressure, change, and complexity without constantly falling into organizational dysfunction. One of the most important insights inside this framework is this: alignment is reinforced structurally before it is experienced culturally. That means that culture is not built primarily through slogans or inspirational messaging. Culture is reinforced through clarity and communication, structure and ownership, and operational consistency, and most of all, trust. Personally, I've experienced this in my own journey while building Frenetta Tate Global. At one point, I realized I was mentally operating in two different directions at once, holding on to one version of my future while simultaneously trying to build another. And what I learned is this: misalignment creates friction, not always dramatic friction. Sometimes it's subtle friction, but it slowly drains momentum, confidence, clarity, and execution over time. But once vision and structure finally aligns, everything became more sustainable for me. Not easier, but clearer. And I believe organizations experience that same reality every single day. The longer I work in operations, workplace experience, and organizational support, the more convinced I became that alignment is one of those underestimated forces inside leadership and business. Because alignment changes how organizations function, but it also changes how people move through life. And once alignment becomes intentional, execution becomes far more sustainable. Thank you for joining me for today's conversation. If this insight resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe, share, and continue following the work of Frenetta Tate Global as we explore leadership, operational alignment, workplace experience, and sustainable organizational effectiveness. Because alignment impacts more than just performance. It shapes how organizations function, how people experience work, and how sustainable execution becomes possible. Until next time, continue building with clarity, consistency, and intention. Thank you for joining.